Good morning and welcome to the workshop. My name is Cian. I'm a leather worker and a small business owner based in Oldcastle, County Meath, which is in Ireland. Today we're going to do a quick little Q&A style video, just answering some of the comments that have come in on our last few videos and that kind of thing, just to clear up some frequently asked ones, but also just to let you guys get to know me a little bit better. So the first one, I've got them here on my laptop. I'm not sure if that's in the shot or not, but the first one is from Nicole. And Nicole says, her biggest fear is missing the bus. That is from our day in the life of a leather worker, crafting by hand and Calandra live in Dublin video, where we did miss the bus. And then she said, amazing video, keep going. Thank you so much, Nicole. She said, so my question is, when will you be doing a market in Clare? I would love to meet you guys. So, markets in Clare, I don't have any currently planned, but I do aim to be doing some Viking Age leatherworking demonstrations in Craignawan, which is in County Clare, on the August bank holiday weekend. So I'm like a month from now, less than a month from now. So hey, maybe we can meet you there. That's that one. Nice, quick and easy to answer. Let me see. Let me just grab our next one here. So Lumen says in the next question here, or next comment, she says, great video, thanks for sharing part of your workday and your gig trip. This is again from that Calandra video. Please do go and check it out, guys. And she says, I'd love to know what inspires you when it comes to leatherwork. Are there any historical or specific styles that you're drawn to? And also, what was the first leather item that you ever crafted? The first piece that I ever made was a leather belt. I made it for myself. And this is the first piece that was actually something I had done some repairs before that, and I'd done some like practice kind of random pieces and stuff, but that's the first piece that I made that was an actual finished project. Like, that was my first project. And that belt was a kind of light tan brown. I used copper rivets and a nickel plated buckle, a heel bar buckle. There was no keeper, whether leather or otherwise, and it was a little bit janky. The burnish wasn't great, you know how it is, but I loved it. And I wore it for, I think, probably about close to a year, I'd say, before I made another one. But that one is still going strong. I don't personally have it anymore. I gifted it to, I guess, my future brother-in-law, my partner's brother, and he still wears it quite regularly, and it's still going strong. As I said, it was janky. I didn't understand the dye and top coat process very well. And while there is always a possibility of a little bit of dye rub off with hand dyed goods, whether leather or otherwise, it was a lot to start with. But thankfully, it's kind of settled down now, and it's going strong. But yeah, that was the first piece that I ever made. And then what inspires me? History. I love historical leatherwork. I love historical artwork. I love day-to-day life and history, you know, like I feel like everybody has this interest in the great kings and warriors and everything, but I love to read and learn about like the simple everyday people, just like I'm a simple everyday person and most people in the world are today, you know. That's what I love. That's what I enjoy researching about, learning about. And then as far as in craft goes, of course, looking at the historical examples from the Viking Age is a big motivator and inspiration for me, whether it's shoes, pouches, belts, and all of that kind of thing. I love it so much. But not only the Viking Age, I just love anything. You guys might have seen the green guitar strap that we done the start of the year that had some key patterns from one of the crosses down in Kilfenora in County Clare. That was gorgeous. We've done some stuff with Pictish patterns, and generally we're looking quite far back with what I do, but I do have an interest in history in general, moving into the later and high medieval, and even after that too. I just love history. I just love tradition and heritage, and yeah, that. As far as like a specific artwork study, like I've never properly done any study into artwork, whether modern or historical. Like when you look into the Viking Age artwork, you can look at Mammon style or Yelling style, or there's so many. And of course, each piece that I'm doing, if it's inspired by a direct link to the Viking Age, of course I'm going to look into that and figure out what I'm actually doing. But when I draw knotwork, like just out of my own mind, or when I draw artwork in general that's like historical-ish, I don't really know or care what it looks like. As far as the style goes, once I personally enjoy it, it's just whatever comes out of my brain, you know? Because I don't quite like it is something I would like to learn more about, don't get me wrong, but I don't quite like to confine things either. I like things to be able to spread and be what they want to be what they will, you know? Well, thank you. That was an amazing question. I really, really like thinking back to what my first project was. It was kind of tough, actually, to remember. I wonder if I've got any videos on that. I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to look back. Just scrolling here to grab the next one. The next one is from Mr. Dylan Roberts, whose quiver we're actually making. I'm not sure if that's in the shop, but we're working on a quiver for him right now, so that's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be purple and black, and we're just slowly tooling the artwork on there. But Mr. Dylan Roberts says, what has been the most difficult project for you so far? I think the most difficult project has to have been a guitar strap that I done for Mr. Evan. I forget Evan's second name. I'm so sorry, Evan. Back last year, kind of like this time last year, and Evan had kind of come to me with the idea of this guitar strap. He was looking for a stylized clattering, that kind of symbol or logo. Basically, he was looking for his own initials and knotwork, basically. And the world was my oyster. And he came to me in like, I don't know, February or something, and then like months later, I finally got around to thinking about this and putting in the artwork for it and all of that, and eventually we were happy with what we came up with, and I spent a long time working on that. That was the first like big piece of tooling that I'd ever done. It was fully tooled. And I don't even know if Evan knows this, but tooled the whole piece. I painted it intricately with dyes, so we had the knotwork. Any of the raised sections were left natural, and then everything around it, all the backgrounding and stuff like that, was painted in a dark brown, or chocolate brown actually, I think it was, and done all of that. And when I tell you it took me like a week, it took me longer than it should have because I was learning, but it took me like a week. And then I was punching the punching the hole, that is the word, for the button stud of the guitar to go through on the bottom of the strap. And I messed it up. And I remade the entire thing in like 3 days. I just fully squirrel brained on it, made the whole thing again. And I was happier with the second one. It came out a little bit better, and I was delighted with the end result. But that certainly, when I messed it up, I was like fit to be tied. Like I was like, I don't want to be a leather worker anymore. Just close up shop. Let's sell the tools. We're done. Not a bit dramatic, but yeah, I was happier with the second one anyway. So I guess it kind of worked out. But that was a lot. After like pretty much finishing it, or being very close to finishing it, and then messing it up, that was tough. But yeah, Evan still has the guitar strap. It's currently in Australia with him. He's living in Australia for a couple of years, but he is an Irish man from Galway. But yeah, that's actually a funny story too. Evan's guitar strap was technically, even though I shipped it to Galway, he was still living in Galway at the time, it's technically my first ever piece in Australia. We do have our wonderful Hazel, one of our TikTok moderators, subscribers, and longtime supporters, who has been supporting us with some orders going out to Australia, but she wasn't the first one to have a Quinn's Workshop piece in Australia. So yeah, sorry Hazel, Evan got there first, but we still appreciate you. And then the last question for today, guys, is a very complex one, but something that I never gave a proper answer to. And that is somebody called Chakalakak or something like that. It'll be on the screen anyway. And they commented on my transforming my small workshop for free DIY workbench and shelving build, that video, okay? They commented on that one and they said, what do the runes on your hands mean? And anybody who is a regular in our TikTok streams knows that that's quite a frequent question that we get, and I completely get it. I don't mind questions at all on them, but I never tell people what they mean to me. Of course, you can look at things in a paganic way and look at the I guess prescribed meanings of the runes, and some of them are quite similar. But what I've done is I've meditated and studied on these runes for a couple of days each, and almost linked them, coupled them, or paired them with stories, anecdotes, or meanings of my own from my own life. And because of that, I never really share with anybody what they mean to me, because I think runes are quite personal. Historically, of course, they're letters. You can write with them, and whatever else they may have had magical or spiritual meaning to people like they do to me. They may not, I don't know. But these are Futhark runes, Elder Futhark to be exact. So they're kind of pre-Viking Age, coming up to the Viking Age. And yeah, they've got personal meanings to me. But thank you so much for the question. I always feel kind of like, I don't know, a little bit kind of uppity or something with that answer, but it's so true. It is what it is, you know, and they are what they are. But yeah, each one has a personal anecdote or story. These were done by a friend of mine, Vicky, who I used to work with. She was an, I don't know if she's still aspiring to be a tattoo artist. I haven't talked to her in a couple of years now, but she was at that time anyway aspiring to be a tattoo artist, and Leah and I decided to be her canvas for a little while. So I don't have many tattoos. Leah has a bunch and a couple by Vicky, and I've got my runes and a little skull on my wrist. And all are perfect. I really, really like them. And yeah, I love them. So they're something that I wanted to have since I was a kid, and that's why you see me kind of going against the rules of tattooing and that whole culture, because I have almost no other tattoos, but I have my knuckles done. But slowly but surely, we're going to build up some more tattoos with some more historical and potentially modern as well, motifs and pieces of artwork. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. But thank you so much for the question. I love when people will comment on the videos and ask questions. So please leave a comment on this one. If you've got a question, please do ask it. I'd love to make another one of these. If you've got any suggestions for videos, I'm starting to kind of not run out of ideas. I've got plenty of ideas to make videos, but a lot of them are very similar to what I'm already making, which is completely okay. I really enjoy them, and I hope that you guys do too. But if you've got some kind of new idea, if you've got something that you'd like to see from the workshop, would you like to learn a bit about leatherwork? Would you like to, I don't know, hear about my cup? Or actually forgot that I had tea. It's probably freezing now. Yep. Would you like to hear about specific processes in leatherwork? Would you like to hear stories? Or I don't know. Tell me what you want, and I will do my best to give it to you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please don't forget, as I said, drop a comment. Give a like is very important, and also subscribe if you can, if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. We're sitting just over 180 subscribers. We are getting there, and I'm really, really loving making longer form content here on YouTube for you guys and for me. It's kind of like a diary, I love watching back on the videos and stuff like that. This one is a little bit different, a little bit scary, me actually sitting and talking to you guys for a few minutes, and it's kind of like, but I think I did okay once the camera is actually recording. Goodbye for now, guys. I love and appreciate you all. Bye-bye.